client that doesn't know where they want to go and you're looking for information, our pages for each country are set up in the same way, and we have links in each section to the right place on their website. So you don't have to go hunting for it. So you're going to see here this intro for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and at the end of the first paragraph, there is a link to their website. So you or your client can go directly to that website for general information. We then have dining information. Learn more. We're going to take you to their dining section if you want more information. We have a quick facts box that's set up, and every country is set up the same way. So, what language do they speak in that country? What is banking like? What are their banking hours like? What type of currency do they use? What's their climate, dress code, driving, electricity, and of course, what time zone? And really, what we wanted to do was to ensure someone going knew or knows basically, I can drive with my American driver's license. I don't need to buy an international one. So that's the whole purpose. Quick facts at a glance. Then we have a photo gallery, and this is actually what we just amended this morning. So we have about 6 to 8 photographs for each country, and we just added in this new photograph of Sandals St. Vincent. And well, we had the Young Island Resort already, but Sandals St. Vincent is the new photograph, and just great pictures to give you the scope of what St. Vincent is all about. And of course, we have this beautiful picture of sailing in the Tobago Keys. We have a section on activities. So all the things that you can do on land and on sea, and then we link you to the activities that are available in that particular country. And then here, travel essentials. What we've done here is we wanted to give you an indication of what flights are available from the US to St. Vincent. So sometimes there are flights that go daily. If you clicked on Nassau Paradise Island, oh my goodness, you're going to see, daily flights out of so many different gateways. But what we wanted to be able to do was to tell you, um, what gateways, where can you find direct nonstop flights? And then link you to where you can find more information. So that's what we've done there. The entry requirements are here. What I also want to say about the entry requirements is we wanted to highlight, of course, what Americans need to enter the variety of Caribbean islands. But what you will also find is all the countries that have ED cards. So links for the electronic immigration cards that are now so prevalent in the Caribbean. All of the links are provided here. If they have an electronic card, then we've got it here. And so you don't have to search for it. It will all be here. We also added in your US State Department link for St. Vincent and the Grenadines or any country that is on our website. So if somebody is a different nationality or may want to check something on the government site, then we provide the hyperlink to get them there. I think this has been really, really popular, getting married. This tab, I think the difficulty sometimes on the country websites is I see the explosion there of some of the comments. Thank you. The getting married part was the most difficult to find the information for every single country. Some countries do it really, really well. And some countries, it's nowhere on their website. So we spoke to every country to say, what does it take? Should people get married? Should people, do a ceremonial wedding in destination and be legally married at home? What is the policy? What is the procedure? And particularly, I found with some of the Dutch islands, it was a little bit more involved. So we did want to include that here, and then we provide you with the link. So what you need to know. We also have a tab for local events. So every country, as you know, has amazing cultural events that go on throughout the year. They have carnivals, they have food festivals, they have music festivals, they have sailing regattas, they have sporting events. There's so many different things that go on throughout the islands. What we wanted to do was to give you a way to promote the events that are going on in the country in a few different ways. So here, if you click on Learn More at the bottom of this section, this will take you to all the different events that are going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Towards the end of this chit chat, I'm going to show you the event calendar that we have been building, and shortly will be live on our website, on the US website, and it goes by month and it shows all the different country events that are going on. So more on this shortly.
You have
When we,
so many great comments. Sorry, I just wanted to say the
yeah,
chat is blowing up.
oh,
You do have a few questions. I know you might have already moved ahead, but
that's
wow, the
okay.
comments are
Ask away.
amazing. So first of all, yes, this is all recorded and this will live on the One Caribbean USA page on Spoiled Agent, so you can watch it anytime. So a couple of the things that were asked, just in case
Mhm.
we need to maybe go one step back. So someone asked for the link to the website portal. I'm going to feed that right in the chat once again. It gets buried sometimes. I'm going to be putting that there. And then
Okay.
Tammy, hi Tammy, is asking, can you show us again where the downloadable map is again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go to the home page.
Okay.
So when you click on the home page, right below Sailing into the Sunset, it's View Our Map of the Caribbean.
Okay, perfect.
And that, if you click on that, it's a hyperlink to a PDF.
Okay, great. And spoiled agents, it's not typical, but Nancy and I work very well together and we want to help answer some of the questions on the fly while we're in the site because this is the type of service that you're going to receive, this personalized service from One Caribbean. I already see the chat and comments blowing up about how useful it is. And we
Oh,
want to make this
thank you.
webinar the same for you, that you really get the most out of this webinar so you can leave and use this and help you to close more sales and guide your clients. So someone else asked, are the resources always up to date, like especially with the forms or ID, or do you recommend we double check?
Honest to goodness, I have this open on my computer every single day.
Wow.
All day, and I am making updates to it constantly. I'm not going to say that if something happened in the morning, that I won't have it up until the next day, but for all intents and purposes, I work with all of the Caribbean countries. If there's a change in an entry requirement, I'm going to know about it.
Of
So I will
course.
update it usually before they tell me.
My goodness. And another one is, are we able to use the photos for our social media?
Sure. I mean, the reality is the photos are provided by the tourism offices, and the tourism offices would be delighted, I'm sure, to share with you their access to their photo galleries. So you can go that route, but you absolutely can use them from here. We have permission to use them from the tourism offices.
Wonderful. And
Mhm.
here's the email of Nancy because someone said, how do I submit ideas for articles we'd like to see? Now, once again, I please ask you, put your questions in the Q&A because I'll try to see them in the chat because we're live, but I might miss them. So if you have a question, it's great to put in the Q&A because Nancy will receive a report with your name, phone number, email, and everything with the question you asked. So perhaps she can follow up directly if there's something more to be said, right?
Mhm.
But go
Yeah.
ahead, Nancy.
No problem at all. So we'll go back to destinations, and I'll just finish in the box that we were talking about for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm clicking on the Travel Essentials box, and it's taking me to the bottom. So I think we were in the medical section here. And I wanted to explain that the reason that we created a medical section is not because we think you're all going to get sick when you're away on holidays, but basically we were asked at quite a few consumer shows by some of the folks that are, let's say, 55 plus. They're traveling hopefully with insurance that you're selling them. But what happens if they get to the destination? They wanted some reassurance about what kind of medical services are available in each of the Caribbean islands. And the other thing that we were finding is that people wanted to know about clinics. So we really wanted to go through and highlight what hospitals, what clinics, in some cases, pharmacies. We're going to that level. We're adding information on pharmacies. And then we also wanted to point out, particularly for divers, because we have so many people that are diving when they go to the Caribbean, where are the hyperbaric chambers located? And so we did add all of that into this whole medical section, medical information, which each of the countries have double checked. And then the other thing that we were asked by consumers is, okay, we know that the airline is going to take us and take care of us, but what happens at the point where we're leaving the airport? Hopefully that airport has ramps. Hopefully there are elevators. Hopefully there are wheelchair accessible washrooms. Those are probably pretty standard things now. However, who do we contact? Not every island, as you know, has wheelchair accessible vehicles, but the ones that do, we want to tell you about them. And if they do not, we want to tell you that too. So here we're saying in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there are no wheelchair accessible transfer vehicles, but there are other countries who, if you click on other countries, they will say something along the lines of, there are 2 or 3 countries that provide transfers and tours, and this is their link so that you can contact them to make arrangements for a transfer from the airport for those in wheelchairs. There are also countries that are starting to add in links for people who are having dialysis. They want to go on vacation, but they need to have dialysis while they're away. Who does that? If there are companies that offer rental services, so maybe they don't want to travel with a heavy motorized wheelchair, they want to travel with a lighter one. Is there something that they can rent while they're down there? Things of that nature, we're starting to add that information as we receive it from countries. And then, of course, we do have the brochure links. So any of the brochures that are available, we provide them here for you. So that is what you find under destinations. All the information for each country is in the same place. It's set up in the same way. The only difference you're going to find is if we have, I'm going to go on St. Martin, for example, if we have 5 hotels from that country on our website, then we provide an accommodation link to only those hotels that are from St. Martin, for example. So what I've told them is I will provide a link to the accommodation page to only your hotels if I have a minimum of 5 hotels. So that's the only difference. When you click on the accommodation page, you will be able to search by country, okay, with that drop-down menu, or you could search it by keyword. So say you want hotels that have Wi-Fi. Say you want diving. These are the properties that mention diving in their verbiage. So I'm going to click on Golden Rock Resort, for example, in St. Eustatius. I don't know if any of you have heard of St. Eustatius, but it is a lovely island, about a 45-minute speedboat away from St. Kitts, or you can fly there from St. Martin. And this gives you an example of what the hotel pages look like. So there'll be an introduction to that resort. In this case, we also have Statia Divers on this site, so there's a link to that. So here you will find a maximum of 4 different links. Visit website, a fact sheet or a link to a brochure. If there's a virtual tour of the property, we'll provide it here. And if there's a map of the property, then we will provide it here. So there will be 4 links under the general info on each property. And then at a glance, if you're searching for something that's, 3-star, 5-star, whatever, if you're looking for a property with a certain number of rooms, we wanted to make it easy. So we put these 5 bolded points for every property so you can quickly look through it. We also wanted to highlight, anywhere from 4 to 7 points of why would somebody want to stay at this particular hotel. And so that's the bullet points that you see here. That's how we've highlighted it. A smattering of photos for you to look at. And then here it's a little bit more free form. So what we've tried to do is write the property amenities, in some case the resort amenities, and then we have other categories of information that we send to a client or to a hotel, and basically they're clicking off what pertains to their hotel, and we're explaining it in a little bit more depth. So if they have sustainability activities, we're going to add it here. If they have a program for children in terms of neurodivergence, we're going to have it here. If they have something for solo travelers, we're going to add it here. If they have accessibility programs for physically disabled, visually, and hearing, then we're adding it here. So I just want you to know that we send a checklist off to the hotels and we ask what pertains to them and any further information that they want to give us. And so that is located here. And then we do provide the contact information for that property. You can visit their website again and their social sites as well. And that's right at the bottom. Every single hotel on the website is set up this way. So it looks identical. Okay. And you can see this has amenities, but it doesn't have any of the other things that I was telling you about. If you clicked on Young Island Resort, for example, in St. Vincent, sustainability activities, food options, that was the other thing I forgot to mention. What we've been asked is to include information, particularly for people who have celiac disease or something along that line. What does the hotel do? And it's hard to be specific, but what we've asked the hotels is please tell us if your staff have gone through training so that they understand how to deal with people with food allergies. Okay, so that's under the accommodation tab. Do you have questions now, Sabrina?
Oh boy, do we. Yes.
Okay.
So, for example, do you have anything about dentists? Because we talked
Wow.
about medical. That,
No.
yep, see, I love these
That's
new ideas that come.
interesting.
It is, it is. And would the accommodation area show specials and incentives that the different resorts have going on?
No, not here. And the reason for that is that this is consumer friendly. However, I will be showing you where we have special offers and when there are updates where we will put them. So hold that
Okay,
thought.
perfect. And I'll just leave that then. And if they had ideas of articles and things they'd like to see, would they email you?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I've put that in the chat and I'm going to put it once again. Um, okay, there's so many good comments. Literally, it's a long weekend in Canada. And if you have that long weekend, you should use it. You'll need it to read this whole chat log. It's amazing, amazing,
Oh,
amazing.
that's wonderful.
So here is Nancy's information once again. So I'll throw that in there and I'm just taking a peek at the questions. Is there incentive program to register trips on One Caribbean USA, just like the tourist boards, or how does that work?
No, I will show that to you. That's coming when we go to the advisor portal. So
Okay.
stand by on that one.
Okay. And does the site include agent rates or commissions, or is
Yep,
it just a
stand
resource
by,
for
not
clients? Stand
commissions.
by. Okay.
Yep, stand by on that.
Okay, perfect. And then you talked about celiac. Do you have vegetarian or vegan information as well?
You know, we tried to make it generic in terms of, contact the property in advance to let them know if a client is arriving with any type of food allergy. I think that most hotels and most restaurants will offer vegetarian options. We'll offer kosher, we'll offer, etc. I think what we were trying to encapsulate was the idea of, does your staff understand what somebody traveling with a food allergy, what that really means? Do they receive training on how to administer an EpiPen if there is an allergic reaction? So that's what we're trying to get to, not the specifics of, categorizing all the different requests that come through,
Mhm.
merely the fact that that property has gone through the training with their staff, so that they do have the training and the understanding
And
to deal with.
awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And
Okay.
autism certification, have you got that anywhere?
What we're doing for the properties that are coming online that have children's programs, we have a category of neurodivergence. And so what we will do is in that category, we will highlight what they have done for those with any type of, wherever people are on the spectrum. So we will say, we have this staff member that have gone through this amount of training, etc. Not every hotel has the capability to deal with those on the spectrum, and we understand that. But what we want to be able to do is provide you with the information that if they have the program, this is what it is, right?
Okay. And then speaking of programs and fun things, would you list the resort events? I mean, that would be quite a lot, but if they have theme nights, that might be a lot to keep up with. I know you have the events in the destination.
Do you know, it's so interesting that you say that. What we're trying to do is get the hotels to the point that every Friday they email me with an update that we include in the Monday morning e-blast, including changes to any of their activities that go on property. So if I can get to them to that point, you absolutely know we will be including
There
it.
you go. That's a great answer. Okay, I'll let you continue
Okay.
as I get in some more questions here and I'll take little breaks.
Okay, we'll go on to the next tab, which is activities and transportation. So it's not really developed all that much right now. I'll tell you truthfully, the only airline that we have on here right now is Caribbean Airlines, because to be perfectly honest, Caribbean Airlines is the only airline that only goes to the Caribbean. So I did not want to add, American, Delta, United, because a lot of the airlines are actually affiliated with tour operators. And so consequently, if a consumer were to click on an airline link, then they get to their tour operator arm and then you've lost the booking. That is not our intention, right? We didn't want that to happen. But what we want to put under this section, under the airline section, is we want to highlight the inter-island airlines. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in 2025 so that people can island hop. And what we wanted to do with the map and with the myriad of destinations is we want to say, go visit other islands. You're staying on this island. There's one over there that you could get to either by ferry or by an inter-island carrier. What is that inter-island carrier? And so that's what we want to develop in this particular area. So before I go to dive operators, I'm going to click on ferries and I want you to see, the last time I updated this is April 28th. So we'll probably be updating it again within the next month. But what we have said is if you're on this island of Anguilla, these are the places that you can go to. If you're on Antigua, you can get to Barbuda. If you're in the BVIs, this is where you can get to. If you're in Cayman, well, you're just going around Cayman, Grand Cayman. If you're in Dominica, if you're in Grenada, if you're in Martinique, etc. So we're still building this. There's more to add, but you will see if you go through the ferries that what we've tried to do is provide you with public or private public links to like McKenna Ferry Service, which I believe are commissionable to you guys. But we've tried to indicate how often the ferries go, what the duration of the ferry is, and then a link for more information. Okay, so that's what we have there. Under dive operators, this is another area that we want to continue to build on. So I mentioned Stacia divers because diving is so popular in the Caribbean, and we want to continue to add dive operators. So in this case, because Stacia Divers is affiliated with the Golden Rock Resort, we've got a link back to the Golden Rock Resort. And how do you email them if you want more information on dive holidays? In speaking with the dive holidays at some of the outdoor adventure shows, they want to highlight a couple of key points, like why dive with them, but over and above that, courses that are offered. Now, I live in the cold most of the winter, so a lot of people up where I live will do their courses with a dive store location here. But then they will want to complete their open water dive in the Caribbean where the water is clear. So consequently, that's what we wanted to be able to tell them, what courses are offered there and what types of dives. Give us your top 5 dive sites. So that's what we did. Courses offered, dive sites, and then information if you need to email for more. And then we did the same thing with St. Vincent and the Grenadines has Dive Beckway. So the same sort of thing, visit their website. These are the courses that are offered. Here's some great sites to see and some top dive sites, and then the contact information. So that's what activities and transportation is all about. What we do want to add, and this is the next step, is we want to add local tours. So I will get to that point eventually, and then we'll have another drop down link for you to say, if you have a family or a group that's going and you want to pre-arrange a tour, we want to give you information on who to contact. And so once we have that information loaded up, then it will be live on the site as well. There's the insider info tab that I told you about with only one article right now, but it will be populated every 2 weeks with a new article. What we do is we don't duplicate the information that's on our Canadian site. And the reason for that is that it lowers the SEO, the search engine optimization of both websites. So we are creating specific articles for the American public on this site. It is not a regurgitation at all. So I'm going to take you into the advisor site right now. So once you click on advisors and you click on register and you register for the site, then you can go back in and log in. When you click on that, you click on advisors, this is what you're going to get to. You can click on any one of our countries here. For example, I'm going to click on, let's click on St. Eustatius. So who is the contact? This is the BDM. It's actually the person who's in charge of the St. Eustatius Tourism Development Foundation, and that's Maya. So here's her email and her phone number. Are there any travel agent rates for that country? If there are, this is where I've added them. If a link to their social sites, it's here. If there's a link to update you for trade, it's here. The entry requirements are duplicated from the information that's on the other page, but I've also given you a Sherpa link so that you can check other nationalities other than American to get into St. Eustatius. And then once again, the US Department link so that you can check, anything that you may need to check. And again, if the country has an ED card, and I'll show you St. Martin, for example, St. Martin, Gabriella, and Fabrice are your contacts in the US. Here's the education link for Sonesta. If St. Martin had their own, I would put that in here. Agent rates are available at Sonesta, so I've got a link here, link to the social sites, and then here. Entry requirements. This was effective last October, so you have to include or provide the digital entry, and then here's the link. Thanks for all the love. That's so wonderful. So this is what we've done for every single country. So when you click on Nassau Paradise Island, um, we have a representative in Canada, but there isn't one in the US. So stand by, we'll get you that information. Here are their social sites. But again, here is the key thing about accessing the immigration card, etc. We'll continue to update that information as it goes along. Here's Guyana. So Jenna and Jane are the contacts for Emerging Destination who handle Guyana. And there is now, as of the end of January, a new electronic embarkation form, and then click here for the link. So there you go. But you will see this Advisor Weekly e-blast. So we will be participating in Spoiled Agents e-blast, and we did send one out on Friday. I hope you all received it and that you read through it. There are agent rates in there as well, by the way. But what I do is every Monday morning, I go through and I will tell you in this little box about any of the changes that I've made to the website so that you don't have to go hunting through every page. Do we have a new destination? I'm going to let you know. Do we have a new hotel? I'm going to let you know and provide you with the link. If there's something that's changed on the website, I'm going to let you know so you don't have to search for it. And then by country, what we are doing is highlighting either something that you need to know to sell the destination or an update. So here's a good example for St. Eustatius. They actually have a brand new website. So if you click through to Golden Rock, you are going to see a brand new website for Golden Rock. And they also have a special for the client. So you asked me where specials are. This is where I put it. And then there's a special dive offer for Statia divers. So I added that in here as well. For those of you that are in the Northeast, you now know that JetBlue is going to be flying nonstop from JFK in Boston from Logan to St. Martin. So we wanted to add that in there. Sonesta has a special offer, etc. Vincy Mass, the carnival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is on from June 27th to July 8th. So that's fantastic. You're not going to have something from every single country every week. But what we intended here was for you to know at a glance information that you need to know this week if you are selling the Caribbean. We may one day get to sending you an e-blast weekly as we do in Canada. But right now, we're going to put it on the website and I'm going to, say to you, please check back on the website so that you can see the information that I add in there every single Monday. And then hopefully you've seen this little icon, agent rates and incentives. If you click on that, this is where I link you to the rates. As I am advised of rates, the specialist link for education. And we recommend that you go through that training. It will help you increase your sales to the Caribbean. And this is where you log your bookings. So that was the question. Is there something for One Caribbean USA to log your booking? It's an interesting thing because I was asked when we did our virtual trade show last year on Spoiled Agent, a lot of people were saying, wouldn't that be great if there were a central location to log your bookings? I get it, and I think it would be fantastic, but logistically it would be a bit of a nightmare. Not that I'm not up for the the
Challenge,
idea of
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
I think it would be absolutely amazing, but at this point in time, I'm just not there yet. So stand by. Maybe we'll get that to you, but at the very least, what I've tried to do is provide you with all the links that are available right now for you to log your bookings. Okay. And if a hotel that joins us has a link like Sonesta does, for example, in St. Martin, you can go to My Maho Rewards, right? And that's where you log your bookings. For Golden Rock, if it might not be a link, but they're telling us here, make 5 bookings in 2025 and you get a 3-night comp. So,
Wow.
take a look at that. It's a
Hmm.
stunning resort. So, we also have links to, come and stay packages, etc. So that's basically what we have done. So I'm going to stop share for this for a second, if you don't mind, and then I am going to share something else because I promised you a look at what our event calendar looks like. We are updating it right now for US. So right now you see in the bottom corner, it says One Caribbean Canada, but we are updating it. And that's why it's taking me a little longer. But within the month, we will have a link to this calendar on the website for the
Wow.
US. And so basically, what we've tried to do is say you have a client that says, oh, I don't know where I want to go, but I want to go somewhere in March, then they can go to the event calendar and say, or you go with them to the event calendar and you can say, well, guess what's going on in this month? If you're interested in going to surfing, you could go to Barbados. And there's an event here on the 1st of March. If you are into sailing, hey, the Heineken Regatta is going on from, obviously this is in the past, but moving forward, we will be adding, we've got every, month, but we will be adding the 2026 calendar once that information is available. In some cases, there are links, and I hope that we will have more and more links and videos. There are some links to videos so that you can watch, information on a particular event. I think St. Lucia just shared something. They just had their jazz festival, but they've also got their carnival coming up, and we've got a link to
Hmm.
that. Oh, this links to a video. So you can see if a video link comes on here, then that will be on as well. Here's the Gastronomy Festival for St. Martin. If you click on this, then you will be able to watch all about this amazing food festival in French St. Martin
Wow.
in November. Now, after saying all of that, I realized that people came to us at a consumer show and they said, I love going to food festivals. And I thought, geez, how can I make it easy for them to see all the different food festivals? So what we're going to do in the next version of this calendar for 2026, not for 2025, but I think what we'll do is in the back of the calendar is we'll also have categories of events that go on. So someone said to me, what about all the cricket tournaments? Okay, you guys might be amazing fans of cricket. I find it incredibly boring. I'm sorry,
Oh, that's okay. I've never watched
but
it. Maybe that's why.
because it takes 3 days. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
not the newer version of cricket, but the older version of cricket is it's stretched over days. But what I was going to say was that if somebody wants to schedule for cricket for the summer, wouldn't that be amazing if we could say, here's all the cricket,
Yeah.
games that are going on. Here are all the sailing regattas. Here are all the food festivals. And then it can help somebody decide, wow, I've been to that island before, but I've never been to this island before. And wouldn't that be great if I tried a food festival here and a regatta over there? It's really all about trying to expand everybody's knowledge of the Caribbean so that they can go either hopping or trying a new country that they've never thought of before, right?
Wow.
So
It's
that's
quite
what it's all
amazing.
about.
It's amazing. It's going to take you 3 days to read the chat, as I can tell you. It is unbelievable. Agents, if you've put your message in the chat, it might still be there, but if you have a question, make sure it's in the Q&A. I know we're almost at the hour mark, so of course we'll let
Yep,
agents go because I know they want to go on your site and go start looking at it, but you don't have to go. I don't know how you are for time, if we can go through some of the Q&A now, Nancy.
I'm
I'm
fine.
here for you all day long, spoiled agents.
And I'm here for you.
Wonderful. I knew you'd say that. So yeah, we've got lots of great comments and of course some questions. So I'll go through some of those now. And if
Okay.
you made it up until this point with us here, agents, don't worry, you are in for the drawing of the prize. And we will let you know next week who the winner of that $100 Amazon card is. And for those of you who want to stay on, I have some fantastic agent questions here, so I'll go through some of those. So someone says, what is the difference between you and CTO?
That's a really great question. I used to work for the CTO. So the CTO is a wonderful organization. It's a government organization. Having worked for them, what I will say to you is that they work with all of the Caribbean country and they're an advocacy group. So they're really not promoting to the consumer directly and they're not really working with the agencies directly. So I think that's what we do. So we're not competing organizations. Um, I'm still in contact with the CTO, and they are very much a needed organization. For those in the Northeast, there is actually Caribbean Week coming up in June, which I'm not sure if there are trade activities. There used to be. If there are, go for it. We're all helping one another.
Yeah,
Many people
absolutely.
ask me about Task too, Travel Advisors Selling the Caribbean. That's a Facebook group, and it's like we're all in this together. We're all here to help you increase your knowledge and help you increase your sales to the Caribbean. So you use whatever vehicle works for you.
Okay, absolutely.
hmm
So, real quick, I know just while we're on, in case that agent might be still with us, can you
hmm
please show us again how to access the travel agent rates and benefits?
Absolutely.
And then someone else asked while we're going online about where you went for the event calendar. I understand that's still in the works. It's not ready yet, right?
No, it is on the Canadian site, but it will be on the American site within 2 weeks. So if you
Okay,
can
so
wait, and then we're looking at the homepage now. So see where it says Inspire Me?
mhm.
That is where the US version of the event calendar is going to go.
Okay,
Okay,
very good.
so stand by. Give me a little bit because we have to change the coloring on it. And we
Mhm.
actually have to change the spelling of a lot of our words, right? Traveler with one L instead of two L's. And don't make fun of our about. No,
There you
but
go. Listen, I don't
color,
think any
flavor.
agent here can be upset with you. There's nothing but raves,
Oh, that's
raving comments and feedback.
Well, you know what? We want to make sure that if we're providing something to you, it's in the correct spelling that you're used to. So that's
Of
what we want to
course.
do. So on this page, If you go to registration, and there's over 30 people that have sent me a registration request just in this time period,
I
just
love
so
it.
you know, amazing. But once you have registered, when you come back in, click on login, okay? And
Okay.
that's what you have to do. I'm kind of in the back of the house right now, so that's why it might look a little bit different on my screen. But if you go to login, you click on advisors and you're going to be asked to put in your own password. And then here you can click on the countries and then you can click on the agent rates and incentives.
Okay,
And that's how you get
perfect.
through to it.
Okay, perfect. It
Incidentally, if you can't find my email, at the bottom of each of the pages, it says info at, that
Oh,
also comes to
perfect.
me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, you're wearing many hats. I love it. Now we'll say next up, is there a Facebook page or group for the organization?
There is, there is my own. My page for trade is Nancy Drolet dash travel.
Okay, I
So
will
it
put
will
that
be a
in there.
mixture of Canadian and American stuff. There is also a page set up for One Caribbean Canada, but to be perfectly honest, you know, it hasn't been my priority. For me, my priority has been more content to get the content
Hmm.
correct for all of you.
Of course.
Eventually, I'll get back to social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, you want that to be there. Okay.
What we really
Um,
want to do, and here's where you can use One Caribbean USA again as another sales tool, is link your website to ours, right?
yeah,
So
that's
make
right.
sure that you're opening in a new portal so that they can get back to you, of course, but you absolutely can link your website to ours. As you can see, it's generic. There is nothing here that says, book here, book now, or nothing like that. So this is
Hmm.
entirely a resource for information. We are not a booking platform, and thus you can feel safe that if
Yeah.
you're linking your website to ours, that nobody's taking your booking, right?
Okay, because yeah, that's what someone had asked previously, and I think we addressed it, but just to be, I'll just say the question
Crystal
again.
clear.
Yeah,
We are
exactly. Thank you.
not a booking website. So I
Okay.
reiterate that. I also come from a retail background. I managed 35 travel stores. I have your back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
understand when I say we are here to support the travel agency community and your efforts in selling the Caribbean. Okay?
Perfect. And so even if they visit the accommodation section, there's no way for them to book by themselves,
Do you know
a client.
a client could link to a hotel's website. They can click through to a destination's website. I can't get away from that.
Hmm.
Whatever booking they have for a particular property, I mean, they don't usually look, click you through to booking.com or something like that.
Hmm.
It's really their information website. I'm not saying that those hotels won't take a booking,
Hmm.
but frankly, if they Google it, they're going to get through to those same sites as well.
Of
But
course.
what we're not doing is saying book here. We didn't put any
Book
squares
now.
up where you
Yeah.
link over to some online agency or whatever. That's not what we're about. We're just
Wonderful.
trying to provide information.
Okay. And then there's a lot of specifics about information, but I want to get to the sort
Okay.
of overview part.
Yep.
Someone said they had an issue that their email is showing up as incorrect. Would they just email the info box if they're having an
It,
issue registering?
they can email me too. And
Okay.
like a lot of it right now is showing pending administrator review. And this is good to know too. What we're trying to avoid is consumers accessing the back end of the site. So I have to approve each of you to go in. So what I
Yes.
am doing is I'm checking to make sure you're an agent.
Yes, of course.
So it comes into me, but
To
I will tell
protect.
you within the next hour, I will approve all of you. If you have a problem going back into the site, you can do a password reset. And if you have a problem, just send me an email and I will send you a password reset. No problem at all.
Okay. And
Yeah.
is there a place where you list places off properties such as spas, beauty salons, stores, things like that?
No, we
Okay.
haven't gone to that level yet. You will see restaurant links, and if you go into each country's activities listings, sometimes they list that there. But we haven't gone into the individual things yet. Maybe one day in the future. That isn't quite a priority yet. I think the
Hmm.
tours and attractions will take priority over that. So first Inter-Island Airlines, then the dive, and then the tours and attractions. Those are my focus for 2025, and then we'll move on.
Okay, yes, because there's questions about emergency evacuation procedures, yacht companies, fishing and golf. And of course, I'll leave those in the report so you can see them and add them to your list, of course,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Because it's all welcome, but it is, you're starting and it's
Well,
a
the
lot of info, right?
it is a lot of info, and a lot of the countries do provide, like golf, for example. If you link under their activities, they're going to link you to that. But
Okay.
I think golfing is something that's really important, for a lot of Caribbean countries. Not every Caribbean country, but there's a few that do golf well. And if that's the case, then that's something that we could definitely do. Yeah, like
Hmm.
Anguilla, like the Bahamas, they have amazing golf courses. So definitely, definitely worth adding that in.
Okay, and then someone's asking that or saying, can Belize be added? And someone else says, I don't see the Dominican Republic.
Any Caribbean country any country that touches the Caribbean Sea. Let me go back oh, hold on a second.
Yeah, we can go to the map.
Let me get out of that and I'll go back to the map.
And as we go to the map, maybe you know this already. If there would be any info on which countries are outside the hurricane zone or belt.
Sure. So I will tell you that right now in Canada we have uh 25 countries committed, 22 countries built on our site. So right now you're seeing only I think 10 countries and we have Guyana down here. Any country here can belong to one Caribbean USA. Any country.
Okay.
However, sometimes they're a little slower in responding.
Hmm.
And so we have reached out. Um, all I would say to you is help. Talk
Yeah.
to your rep and say, wow, you guys should be a partner to One Caribbean USA. We would be absolutely delighted. So we have
Okay.
reached out to a number of countries and we're just waiting to hear back. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Because I worked for the CTO in Canada, it was faster because they all know me. So the
Hmm.
ones in the US, although I know a lot, I don't know as many as I knew here in Canada. The
Okay.
Dominican Republic is not on the Canadian site and it's not on the American site. And frankly, I will tell you that will take a while because they have a lot of red tape to go through. We would be delighted to have them, is all
Okay,
I'm
there you
going to
go.
say.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And so then we had a note also, like same with the properties. I guess it said if you don't see it, it just means that if some of the accommodations aren't listed, that means you don't collaborate with them, or there's just a few? I think you've answered like basically,
Not yet.
yeah.
I mean, the more the merrier from my perspective. It's harder to add the chains like a Marriott or a Hyatt. Those chains are going to, maintain their own, right?
Hmm.
However, what I would say is that what we've tried to do is go after the hotels that might be less publicized, the boutique hotels, that kind of thing. And we would be delighted to add, a variety of properties throughout the Caribbean. Um, for them, it's just providing the information so that we can build them on our site. The more the merrier. I want to add more and more hotels so that you can access them in the same way, and we truly become a central resource for information. So believe me, we're not saying no to anyone. We'd be delighted to have them all join.
Course. Absolutely. And then so many thank you, so many great comments. A couple questions I might leave for you.
Hmm.
Maybe pickleball, so I'll leave that in the Q&A also.
Yep.
When you go through that, you'll basically have a whole list, a wish list. Giovanna says she's very grateful.
Oh.
And yes, absolutely. And then Giovanna's actually asking, how long has this been around?
So One Caribbean Canada started, it's just over a year ago. And I have to thank all of you for helping create One Caribbean USA, because I think that many people were part of conferences that were held in Vegas, like Ensemble, like
Hmm.
Virtuoso, like Travel Savers. And so some of the country representatives went down with our One Caribbean Canada map. And people were saying, well, this is fantastic. Why don't we have this for the US? And then we did our virtual show last fall, and we opened it up so that we could have both Canadian and American agents on the same virtual trade show. And we are going to do that again. So we're going to have a super big Caribbean virtual trade show, and that is going to be October 28th, if I'm not mistaken. And all the Caribbean countries will be there. The whole idea behind that is if you want it, we will build it. Instead
Wow.
of build it and they will come, you wanted it, and so we built it. And so that's basically it, because you guys said you wanted it and you needed it, and so we wanted to be here to help you.
Oh, I love it. And it is October 28th. I've just double checked that date. So mark your calendars, everyone. And don't forget to go to the Spoiled Agent page before everybody runs off of One Caribbean, because we do have the One Caribbean USA here on Spoiled Agent. I'm going to send that link once again, and you can enter to win a really great prize. If you are an agent tuning in from the US, I do know sometimes we have others in, but that's there. And last question, will I be able to add video feed or pictures to my Canva videos for my social media campaigns? So I think you had said that that's okay if it's on the site, right?
You can take the photos, the videos, they're actually a Vimeo link. I have all of the country's videos linked in through Vimeo. Keeping it on the website would make it extremely slow. So
Yes.
we didn't want that. So we have them all loaded in Vimeo, and then we link to it so that there's no drag on the system. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Give it a go. But
Yeah.
any of the Caribbean countries, I'm sure would want you to promote their country and share their videos. So if you have a challenge with that, you can go in the back end in the advisor portal and then link through to the BDM. But if you have any problem contacting anyone, just drop me a note and I'll be happy to send you or link you to the correct person. Okay?
Perfect. And I think we have a couple questions on there that I'm going to leave for you,
Okay.
that I will leave for you that you can share with them directly for the info that they need. And otherwise, I think we've got the end of the questions. But please read that chat box because it's just absolutely, if you were having any kind of smidgen of a doubt of is this the best thing ever, they're going to remind you and tell you. And I know from your passion and your smile and your energy just how personal this is to you,
It
and really
is.
that this is just an absolute phenomenal tool. And I mean, I know I
Thank
see it. The
you.
agents are so grateful, as are we.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah, we
Labor
want
of
to,
love. Thank you.
yes. Yeah, so we want to remind everyone, of course, to please jump on and register for the portal. And someone says here, where can I find the replay? Shakari, every single and all spoiled agents, every single webinar we do ever is recorded. So you'll find them on our YouTube channel, which I can share with you in just a second. I might have it up here. And you also will find it, of course, on our spoiled agent page, on that suppliers page. So any webinar we did, like today, One Caribbean USA, that'll be on there latest tomorrow. But here's the YouTube if you want to see
Oh, yeah.
all of our webinars 24/7 and help us to reach more, of course, subscriptions and more engagement. We just really appreciate you. So as much as you engage with us, then we can keep pouring more information out there, right, Nancy?
Absolutely.
Well, I
This is
want
a
to, yeah,
partnership. This is a
yes.
partnership, and we help me make each other better. So that's the whole point. And, a pleasure. Sabrina, it was so good to see you.
You too, you too. Thank you so much. What an informative, and thanks for letting me participate because I just usually sit here and drool and look at the Caribbean. And now I get to be part of it with you and be part of the excitement and all the growth that there is. So I want to say thanks, everyone. Make sure you sign up for that contest of TA Day that we have going on with
Yep.
One Caribbean USA. It's pretty fantastic. There's a beautiful note on there for you, and you can enter to win a $100 Amazon card. So now you have double chances, guys, from this webinar and, of course, the TA Day contest. So I want to say thanks to everyone for coming. And if you have any final words to share, Nancy, we'd love to close that with you.
Just use us, and we sincerely hope that it helps you close more sales. That's the purpose behind all of this. Increase your knowledge about the Caribbean, close more sales, send people to the website for information and inspiration, so that hopefully they try a new destination that you might have never heard of, that they've never heard of, and they try something new. So we're here to support you, our travel partners. So absolutely, use and abuse it. And if any suggestions, we will entertain them. Absolutely. So you have a wonderful rest of the afternoon and a wonderful rest of week. Okay.
Everyone, that's a message for you. You too, Nancy. We appreciate you. We love you. We think this is so fantastic, and we just can't wait to see the growth and everything that's happening. And sincerely, thank you for making these agents and travel professionals' lives just this much easier and better.
Thank you.